Okay, guys, here's another quick deck guide for you all. This is my most recent deck that I've made. I've now put together a deck for Northern Realms stockpile. It is. At this stage, I've finished putting together one of my own versions for each deck that there is out there. Fully completed them all six. So I'm going to take you through this one. It's just going to be very brief and to the point, just kind of explain how to play it, just like all the other ones that I do. Hopefully you find some benefit in this deck. It is quite different to the other Northern Realms decks you'd see. It's not really following that meta style. As you can see, got a heat wave in here that I've added. Also, interestingly enough, black blood, which I'll explain in a second why that's there. But to just keep this short and simple, just going to take it through the bottom to the top and just explain basically the best way to play this deck from the beginning to the end. So we'll go to the bottom here. So basically for this deck, I guess you could kind of say there's two themes to it. The first part of the deck, it's going to be a mage focus. So we're going to be running off the mage engine, if you'd like to put it that way. As you can see, we've got the spell weaver here. So the way this card works is that it's going to gain a charge every time we play a mage. So that's why the first part of the theme is pretty much mage run, because the way we'd like to start is by having these cards down early in the first round and then just playing each of our other mage cards one by one. In doing that, we're going to get value off those other cards, but at the same time, it's going to add charges to the spell weaver, and we can damage a unit by one for each charge that's gained. So the best way ultimately to play this deck would be, we have the crystal skull here. Once again, I just like to use this to prevent any of our units getting locked, just so that we can keep using their order abilities, or even saving them from poisoning, why not? We'd like to use the crystal skull onto this card here. I find some of these names really hard to pronounce, so I'm just going to point to them. So I'd say it's best to open up with this card. We veil this. It can boost a unit by 5. When it's inspired, whenever you play a Northern Realms unit, it'll give it zeal. So that's the idea behind boosting it with the crystal skull. That's what keeps it inspired. That's what inspired is, when a unit is boosted above its base power. And at that point, it's going to work that ability where any Northern Realms unit that we have, when played, it's going to have zeal. You can just use its order ability right away, which is really neat to have, considering most of the times, say like when you're playing a unit, it might have a good ability, but if it's an order ability, it's a bit slow and it can kind of lose you the rounds that way, I find. So it's good to have units that play fast. So that's the reasoning behind having this card here. Play this first, you veil it. Then we can Queen Adalia, which is going to spawn a base copy of one of our bronze units. The bronze unit that we'd like to spawn a base copy of in the first round with her would be Spellweaver. So you can do that. So we're going to go this card, spawn a Spellweaver. You can play the rest of them one by one. As you're playing them, they're going to be gaining charges. And then from there, we can just play any one of our other mage cards. We'd like to play them all in the first, if you can. So personally for me, once I've gotten the Spellweavers out of the way, I'd play the Adept cards here, the mages, these two. They're going to be played in the ranged row. They give 1 charge to an allied unit. So if there's a mage on the field already, it's going to gain zeal for that order ability anyway, whether or not we had this card here. So say even if you had Spellweaver on its own and you played her, she'd have zeal, you can give a charge right away. So So as you can see, we can rake up a lot of charges that way. If we're playing smart, playing each card, consequently mage for mage. So this card down here as well, once deployed, it boosts an allied mage by 4. So that's what it does. It's a mage card once again. So we can just boost whatever card we feel we need to. The Enchantress here gives 2 vitality. Gives an allied unit vitality for 2 turns. When bonded, gives it for 4. So you might want to play them both together on the field because we have 2 of them in the deck. The reason I have the Royal Guard here is kind of just a filler. It's kind of thrown in just to fill out some space. But we can use it onto Anna, because when she's inspired, she'll boost adjacent units rather than just the one to the right by 1. So you can line that up by playing him, this soldier card, in the ranged row, because when you play him in the ranged row formation, he'll gain 1 boost, which will make him inspired, and then you can give 2 armor and also boost a unit by 2. So you might want to use that card that way as well. You can use the Royal Guard onto Anna. That's how I do it personally. Then she's boosted, then she's protected, and you can be boosting adjacent units. So it gives you some good momentum to get through the first round, let's say, or use it whenever you feel it's good. So that's the concept for the first round. The concept is we play all our mages first with this card here. She's going to give us Zeal on any order abilities from then on. Get the Spellweavers going, then just play all your mages. They're going to get charged each time a mage is played. It's going to work very well, give you a lot of damage points. The archers that we have here, these are best kept to the last round. So I'd like to carry them both into the last round. And the reason being for that is we have Dandelion here. So whenever an allied unit gains a charge, he's going to boost them for each charge gained. So with the archers, as you know, as long as they got armor, they're going to be gaining charges throughout the round at the end of the round. So it's basically like Dandelion's going to be boosting them at the same time they're getting charges. So you can see there's a good synergy there. You're going to have points to damage and you're getting points to boost at the end of a turn. So that's a pretty smart play, I think, in my opinion. So we've got Dandelion in the final round. These are cards that we'd be using in the final round. Dandelion in the final round to boost the archers every time they get a charge. So obviously in the final round, you would like to drop your defender to protect your units, obviously. After the defender is dropped, I would drop this card here, Corvo, just to protect him because he's small on his unit power. He's just 3. So he's going to gain a charge whenever a player plays a card. Now, the sneaky play that I have with this card in this deck, which I think is a bit unusual to other Northern Realms deck, is that's the reason I've got the Black Blood here. So this unit can boost any unit on the field by 1. And the way Black Blood works is that whenever an enemy receives a boost, Black Blood will destroy it. So you can use your imagination there and already picture. Basically, you can kind of look at this as a way as a removal. This can remove any unit that you can target on the field. You just have this set up behind your defender. And then if there's some unit that you'd like to take out, if it's a defender that the opponent has, you can just drop the Black Blood, then you click on the defender and it'll just destroy it with the Black Blood. So it's a pretty sneaky play that I like to use. I've already used it a few times, works real well. So it acts as an extra removal whenever you'd like. Basically, you just choose which opponent you'd like, or which unit, sorry, you'd like to take out, and it'll just remove them. So that's really good. We also have a mage here. Sorry that I should have explained. This is more for the first round again. Damage an enemy unit by 2, and it's got order damage by 2. So once again, having Zeal from this card here, you just have 4 points of damage to deal right away upon playing her. So that's a lot of good value. Back to how we like to play the final round. So it's going to be Defender, this unit here, gaining its charges, play Dandelion after this unit, because as this unit gains charges, Dandelion will also boost it. Then we can play our archers that I explained, Priscilla as well. She can give charges to units, so then you can give the charges that Priscilla has to the archers, so they got more damage points that way. Being played on the ranged row will give her inspired ability. So basically, she'll get boosted by 1, putting her above her base power, which means that she can give 2 charges to a unit instead of 1. So in the final round, we want to play all these units on the ranged row. That's how their ability works anyway. So I've seen some other Northern Realms deck where they kind of got some units played on the melee row and then, ranged row. But I don't think that's that effective, because how can you cover them all then with your defender? They're kind of all over the place. Some can get picked off, and you're investing so many provision cost points into units that really don't sustain themselves well. So, why not develop a deck where you play them all in the one row? That has its weaknesses too, but in my opinion, I find it to be working better than other decks that I've seen out there. So keep in mind, we're setting all this up on the ranged row. So Defender on the ranged row, followed by all those units I said. Want to go Defender, Corvo, Dandelion, Archers, Priscilla. Then we can drop the Black Blood when we want to take something out. Baron here, as you know, he resets the power of the unit. If his power is higher than his original base power, he's going to give it bleeding as well. I do have the Heat Wave in here. I find it's a must, really, to be honest, because you're versing so many decks that run scenarios, and they gain so much strength off of that. Or they've got some real powerful unit, say like the Alzur's card that's getting played heaps now. It's like a real overhyped card. Everyone's playing that. So like this could come in handy to even take that out. We could even use Black Blood with the boost to take an Alzur out. I've done that before. But yeah, the Heat Wave is just in here for removal. As I said, great to use against scenarios. That's what I'd save it for, really. If someone was to play a scenario against me behind a defender, I'd rather Black Blood the defender first and then just use that in scenario if possible, if I could get there in time. And it's still going to give me enough value to do that. So yeah, as you can see, it's a fairly well-rounded deck. The majority, if not all of the units that we have are Northern Realms. So once again, that works great for this card's ability. Whenever you play a Northern Realms unit, give it Zeal. So anything we play has pretty much got Zeal. Northern Wind, Boiling Oil, these are more in here once again as fillers. They're good as well. It's always good to have a bit of removal in there. You don't know what kind of order ability cards your opponent might be playing. So if they're playing some cards on the melee row or something like that that's gaining them some points, take it out with the Boiling Oil. Or if you're versing Syndicate and they're going to drop their defender, this would work really good against their defender because it purifies adjacent units. It's going to get you straight to the row right away. The Northern Wind, you could throw this, against the Crow Mother if you're versing a Skellige deck. so they don't get that value of the Crow Mother coming back every time they play an alchemy card, or any other deck where they have some kind of a reoccurring card where they're going to get value out of it. That's what that's here for. So you can use it that way too. So this is a deck I've recently put together. I never really consider any of my decks finalized. You know, you always like play them and you can always tweak things and come back to them and change a few cards here and there. But at the moment, I'm pretty happy with how this strategy. We're playing mages in the beginning, all of our mage cards. And then in the end, we're going to play our high provision cost cards with the archers. You can swap the orders around or change a few cards around in there, how you'd like to play them or when to use them. But that's how I've been playing this deck for now, and I found it's been working pretty good. Had a few wins already with it. And as I said, this Black Blood Corvo combination, it's pretty unique and just gives you like some extra removal. So in that sense, we've got Heat Wave for removal and Black Blood, Boiling Oil, and then we have our Order ability cards as well. So, and then on top of that, we've got the Baron, acts as a reset. We're getting boosted each round with our own units. We can use Corvo to boost our own units. So you see there's kind of like a lot of different things going on there to work to our advantage. So ultimately, as I said, we'd like to win the first round, and then you kind of just pass the second, and you just kind of effectively choosing your cards to set you up well for the third and final. And then you want to play your cards in the way that I explained. That's the best way to play this deck, really. Mages first. Top half of the deck that you see here pretty much in the second, except for this card and this card. So use your imagination, get creative if you think there's a better way you could play it, or if there's other cards that fit better to this deck. Go ahead and test them and try it out. You know, don't be afraid to try new things. Often, you know, the things that you haven't seen used by others can kind of work well because people don't expect that. A lot of the people at the high levels, they're just relying on predictability a lot. They're just expecting their opponent to play a particular card. So, I mean, if you can develop a deck or a certain style where that's not the case, you've got a good chance. So, yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you guys once again. I'm working on the production quality of my videos, purchased a new mic, and just getting more used to these kind of recordings, doing these kinds of things. So if you got any feedback, let me know. I hope this has been pretty productive for you as a video, and if there's any kind of tips or suggestions you'd like, just let me know once more. Happy to help you guys out. Thanks a lot for subscribing for those who have already. Thanks for your views, all your input. Really appreciate it. And hope to talk to you all soon. And good luck with your Gwenting. See you guys.